Breaking news and welcome to the finale of ThisJustin's WWE 2k24 Universe Mode, and it feels good to say that as we see right now in the main event of AEW Wrestle Dynasty, Will Ospreay challenging for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship that he has held one time in the past, and doing so multiple years ago. This story goes back multiple years to WWE 2k19 Universe Mode, in which Will Ospreay was challenging Drew McIntyre for the World Championship at SummerSlam. And in that matchup, Will Ospreay successfully defeating Drew McIntyre, claiming what was at the time the SmackDown World Championship. Current lineage is the AEW World Championship, and Ospreay would go on to hold that championship for an astounding 13 minutes and 26 seconds before the appearance of Andrade El Idolo following that match, cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Will Ospreay, despite being a mainstay here in Universe Mode, that being the only occasion he has reached the mountaintop for the AEW World Championship. Of course, a very acclaimed champion in his own right. Then would go on a month later, after being cost the championship by Andrade, would go on to challenge him in a ladder match. And in that match, he was cost by Seth Rollins at the time. So Will Ospreay really couldn't catch a break. He would then, in WWE 2k22, go on to be one of the final two in the NXT Rumble alongside Daniel Garcia, and would come up short in that match. Would then the following month go on to challenge for the WWE and NXT United Kingdom Championship. And Will Ospreay, having held that championship in the past for 41 days, lost to Malachi Black then. And next, introducing to the ring, we have the current AEW World Champion. And the story of Kevin Owens this year in Universe Mode is quite the story to tell. We saw back in WWE 2K22 Universe Mode at Wrestle Kingdom at the end of last year, we saw Kevin Owens pick up a victory over Roman Reigns at Wrestle Kingdom, claiming the IWGP North American Championship, and would hold that championship as a part of the WWE brand for the first quarter of this year. In fact, the first 2 quarters, because Kevin Owens would then go on to compete at Money in the Bank in a special guest referee defense against The Rock, and then go on to lose in a triple threat at SummerSlam to Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, where he was looking to recapture the Triple Crown Championship. Will Ospreay having a very acclaimed and accomplished year here in Universe Mode. Unfortunately, starting off the year on the losing side of Anarchy in the Arena, and then, however, recovering that momentum back at All In. Will Ospreay has been one of the top competitors here in All Elite Wrestling, with victories over Hangman Page back at AEW All In London, and then a victory also over Kazuchika Okada 2 weeks later at AEW All Out. So to be able to beat Hangman and Okada in such quick fashion, Will Ospreay taking on some of the highest competition here in Universe Mode. And speaking of which, Kevin Owens, following his loss at SummerSlam, would not be seen until he reappeared at AEW All Out, that same event, where Kevin Owens would go on to attack Terry Funk backstage when Terry Funk was preparing for a matchup against Eddie Kingston. Kevin Owens' reign of terror wouldn't end there, though, as then he would go on to have a Falls Count Anywhere match against Will Ospreay back at AEW Full Gear last year, in which Kevin Owens sent Ospreay off the scaffolding of the backstage structure, and discus forearm to start off this match from Will Ospreay, starting off really hot, as this rivalry has been building for quite a few months here, as Will Ospreay was put on the shelf at the hands of Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens had thrown him from that scaffolding all the way down into the lighting fixture. Will Ospreay falling from over 20 feet He's so fired up now. Heated exchange here from Ospreay. Follows it up with a Stundog Millionaire. Pinfall attempt here early in this contest, looking to take away the championship from Kevin Owens. And Ospreay go on to be a two-time champion. Step up Insecurity keeps on the momentum now to Kevin Owens. And Ospreay, as mentioned, has some big victories over the course of this year. But that also goes for Kevin Owens, a man who has been very accomplished over the course of the year since defeating Roman Reigns last year, as said, would go on to hold that AEW. Oh, and here we see a pendulum backbreaker, but then reversed by Kevin Owens with a series of knee strikes, and now takes down Will Ospreay. And we saw Kevin Owens hold on to that IWGP North American Championship for 168 days until he would go on to lose that championship to The Rock back at Money in the Bank, where The Rock would then go on to bring that United States Championship into the main event of SummerSlam last year. And a huge power slam from Will Ospreay. Returning to his grassroots, Kevin Steen having one of the most successful returns here to AEW possible. He has been absolutely on his A game. Now Ospreay sends Steen into the corner here, hoists him up to the top rope. Gonna look to jump up. Huge Frankensteiner there from Ospreay. Great agility on display from the aerial assassin, but Kevin still staying immediately on the objective and charging in and clubbing strike to the back of Will Ospreay. Now drops him throat first across the rope and a kick out from Ospreay. And following Kevin's frustrations with the Samoan Dynasty over in WWE, Kevin Owens having resurfaced here on AEW television, and since doing so has been an absolute force. Of course, destroying Terry Funk in that match, as mentioned, back at All Out. Then going on to throw Will Ospreay off the top of the balcony back at AEW Full Gear, which has prompted this match here, but also caused the frustration of Kenny Omega that forced him to challenge Kevin Steen for his recklessness. Kenny Omega looking to teach him a lesson back at AEW World's End, but unfortunately for Kenny Omega, coming up unsuccessful in that match and allowing Kevin Steen to walk out as the AEW World Champion, and he has done so successfully for 112 days. Also, it's worth mentioning too that Kevin Steen is the second time that he is holding that championship that he holds right now, the AEW World Championship. And as a matter of fact, as of today, he has surpassed his previous reign with that championship. Now, moonsault off of the second rope, pinfall attempt here on Will Ospreay as Steen staying on the attack. But as a matter of fact, Kevin Steen was the first SmackDown World Champion in Universe Mode history, and there we see a huge moonsault press from Ospreay. Looks to go for the pinfall attempt, shifting the weight of Kevin Owens, and able to land that impressive athletic maneuver does Ospreay. Steen, however, looks to stomp down on the back of the head of Ospreay. Reversal, however, from Ospreay with a power slam to answer back. So Kevin Steen was the first SmackDown champion, held that championship for 111 days before he would lose it to Finn Balor. However, recapturing that championship from Kenny Omega 112 days ago. And there we see the Robinson special from Will Ospreay. Looks for the pinfall attempt here, too, and a kick out from Kevin Steen, remaining in this contest and remaining focused on maintaining his championship. However, facing a lot of offense here from Ospreay, brings him in for two short arm chops. And now Ospreay back up to the second rope here, looks to come diving down with a body press. We see that steel chair positioned in the corner. I didn't mention it at the time that it was set up. Huge overhead back body drop and a strike to the face. This match being conducted with referee's discretion. So, I mean, if the referee doesn't deem it a disqualification, then as you see there, it is allowed, as the champion being the first to utilize a weapon in this match, as Kevin Steen cracking Will Ospreay over the head with that chair shot, and now diving over the top with a tope con hilo to the outside. Now strikes to the face here from Kevin Steen to Will Ospreay. This match being conducted, I should mention, under lights out rules, but despite that, the AEW World Championship is on the line, so of course it has to be officially recognized. But other than that, these two have been given the authority to pretty much unleash here tonight, go as far as they need to do to claim that championship. And considering that Kevin Steen is the one who put Will Ospreay on the shelf for so many months, it's going to look likely that that Kevin Steen is not going to be walking out of here without facing the wrath of Ospreay. Now, after sending that table crashing down on Ospreay when he was prone, Kevin Steen looked to follow it up and now sends him into the barricade there. And Kevin Steen, as mentioned, former champion. Will Ospreay also part of the championship's lineage after a 333-day championship reign that Drew McIntyre had with the SmackDown World Championship. Ospreay would hold it from WWE 2k24 SummerSlam, and would go on to hold that championship for the remainder of that event before he was challenged by Andrade El Idolo and lost the AEW World Championship. Now a step up enziguri there from Kevin Steen sends Will Ospreay rattling into the ring post on the outside. As mentioned, Kevin Steen claiming that AEW World Championship and going on to successfully defend it at AEW Revolution against Keith Lee in a steel cage match very recently here in Universe Mode. Now catches the arm and drops him down with that inverted DDT. Sitting out with him does Will Ospreay. Now looking for the pinfall attempt here. And there, the trash can being sent over the head of Kevin Steen. Now a drop kick. Salt almost to Will Ospreay to get back onto his feet. Now has Kevin Steen up in power slam position, drops him snake eyes across the apron. Now with a table shot there, and you see Ospreay is now sending Steen around the ringside area and looking to send him into the barricade there. Ospreay now with Steen back up to his feet. Power slam position once more on the outside here. And head first sent snake eyes. Head first lawn darted into that ring post on the outside. Does Will Ospreay. Now a boot to the midsection there from Kevin Steen creates the separation. Series of chops and follows it up with a step up enziguri to the face. Ospreay now climbing all the way up to the top rope here. And they'll look to dive down onto Kevin Steen with a diving Hurricane Rana from the top to the outside. Staying on the offense here is Ospreay, and this aggression has really paid off for him here in his championship opportunity. Now the ladder, look to send the ladder face first into Steen. Steen, however, luring Will Ospreay up to the apron and knocking him down with a series of shots. In the past, both these men have competed on the same shows, of course having one match against each other at AEW Full Gear this season, but going all the way back to WWE 2k18, if we go back to that year's Universe Mode, we saw Daniel Bryan, Kevin Steen, who was at the time Kevin Owens, who now hits a Stone Cold Stunner on the outside. Pinfall attempt here on Ospreay, but Ospreay gets the shoulder up there in quick succession, able to escape out of the pinfall attempt. And now Steen follows it up with a running senton on the outside. But Kevin Steen would meet Daniel Bryan and Kazuchika Okada at that year's WrestleMania in a triple threat for the WWE Television Championship. A championship that in later times would be held by Will Ospreay at a future WrestleMania event. Will Ospreay would go on to defend that same championship against Jon Moxley, who was at the time Dean Ambrose back in 2K19. And as for the first WrestleMania event where Daniel Bryan, Kevin Steen, and Kazuchika Okada met, and now we see a package piledriver attempt on the outside. Ospreay, though, reversing it into a lariat, and fortunately so, perhaps saving his chances at the championship here tonight, because had he been hit with that maneuver on the outside, I think we could have been seeing the end of Ospreay's championship aspirations here at Wrestle Dynasty. Sending Kevin Steen face first into the barricade on the outside here. Steen sidestepping that, however, but is met with now a series of chops to the chest at the hands of Ospreay, and now brings him in for 2 short arm chops to the chest again. And now Ospreay ascends up the ropes, climbing up the ropes now. He's going to look for a dive to the outside here onto Kevin Steen. No, diving Oz Cutter springboarding off of the bottom rope, but Kevin Steen able to sidestep that, reversing out of the way, and then a kick to the back. Now package piledriver position, drops him down on his back. Does Kevin Steen pinfall attempt here off of the sit out package piledriver backbreaker. Boot to the midsection as Ospreay recovered off the pinfall and gets met with another stunner on the outside. Ospreay could be in trouble here and gets the shoulder up somehow. Kevin Steen has utilized that Stone Cold Stunner twice now on the outside here to devastating effect, and now looks to come to strike Will Ospreay with the steel steps that he dislodged from the corner there. Now sending Ospreay face first there into those steps that he had propped up, positioned upright. And like I was saying, at that first WrestleMania show, Kevin Steen in that triple threat match with Okada and Daniel Bryan, and Ospreay having a singles contest against Pac on that same show. So these two having been 2 crossing ships here in universe mode, first coming to heads at AEW Full Gear last year, as these two mainstays have been around since quite literally since the very beginning here of universe mode. Ospreay on the outside grabs a steel chair, as now Kevin Steen going to look to introduce his own steel steps from the outside. Not the same ones he was utilizing earlier, so again looking to employ the steel steps. And as he looked to get back to the inside of the ring, hit in the back of the head there by Ospreay with the steel chair. Now follows it up, axe handle takedown from Ospreay. Clothesline takedowns here, series of lariats, and now a super kick to Kevin Steen. Ospreay now follows it up by going up to the top rope here. Could he be looking for here? As we see a diving shooting star press there from Ospreay. The aerial assassin taking to the skies, and it paying off for him there with a huge shooting star press. But again, Kevin Steen gets the shoulder up somehow in this contest. Disqualifications. Oh, and now looking for the low blow there. You saw Kevin Steen was looking to come in for the low blow, but instead Ospreay quickly springboarding off of the ropes in a way to evade it, kind of. Connects with that roaring forearm there, and now positions upright the ladder here. Now bringing the ladder a little bit closer to the corner there. Looks to stay on the attack on Kevin Steen, but Steen springboarding off of the ropes and catches Will Ospreay with that tornado DDT. Now Steen gets Ospreay back up on all fours just to club him down with yet another axe handle. And getting back up to his feet slowly here, we see Ospreay slowly recovering on the apron, where he's met by a series of strikes here from Kevin Steen. Steen going to follow him to the outside now with a back suplex. Drives Will Ospreay down. Spine first on the apron on the outside. That's such a harsh angle. Will Ospreay coming down. And now we see Kevin Steen introducing a light tube into this match, uses it on Will Ospreay here on the outside, and he's going to roll him over after crashing that glass, colliding with Will Ospreay. Looked for the pinfall attempt, but Ospreay somehow got the shoulder up and is almost amplified by the fact that he was just hit by a glass light tube. Now sends Kevin Steen around the ringside area yet again and returning to the inside, where Ospreay now picks up those steel steps and uses them on Kevin Steen. Face first collision with the side of those steps, and now Ospreay connects with a roundhouse kick and follows it up with a ripcord Spanish fly. Kevin Steen landing back first on the upturned table. Ospreay now positioning Kevin Steen in the corner, picks him up to the top rope. Connects with 2 shots to the face just to keep Kevin Steen dazed. And now Ospreay with him up to the top, follows it up with yet another Spanish fly. Following the ripcord Spanish fly, Ospreay then connecting with a Spanish fly all the way from the top rope. Now boot to the midsection, but it's reversed there by Kevin Steen. Jawbreaker from Kevin Steen, code breaker rather from Kevin Steen. And rolling to the outside there is Ospreay for the separation, perhaps wisely so, as Kevin Steen now going to look to utilize those steel steps yet again. Ospreay returning back to the inside of the ring here, and so does Steen. Looks for that low blow yet again. However, it's reversed by Ospreay. Springboard looked for the tornado DDT once more, but went to the well once too often, as now Ospreay connects with those step kicks to the face. Table now is being set up here by Ospreay. Something that he's looked to do for quite some time here in this matchup. Now brings Kevin Steen over to the table and hoists him up, and now Ospreay here with Kevin Steen on top of the table, gonna look to climb and ascend the ladder on the other side of the ring with the steel steps in between them. Ospreay all the way at the top of the ladder, dives down on Kevin Steen. Huge dive from the top of the ladder from Ospreay all the way down on Kevin Steen. And now gonna follow it up. Springboard, rope twisting plancha to the outside, corkscrewing Ospreay in midair to come crashing down hard on Kevin Steen. And now Ospreay sends Steen back to the inside here. Follows him in as Ospreay now from the corner has his sights set on Kevin Steen. Connects with the hidden blade to the back of the head. And now gonna hoist Steen up. Gonna look to connect with a finishing move. Perhaps gonna look, and here instead, suplex, turns it inside out with a Falcon Arrow. And rather than go for the pinfall, connecting with that roundhouse now, and yet another ripcord Spanish fly, dropping Kevin Steen on top of those shards of the table. And now Ospreay from the top rope looks for a leap of faith there, off of the top rope now onto Kevin Steen. Second time that Ospreay has come crashing down hard with a dive there, and now connects yet again. There we see being utilized the hidden blade, and gonna follow it up now. Boot to the midsection. It's academic at this point as Ospreay now with Kevin Steen up for the Stormbreaker again onto the fragment of the table. Pinfall attempts here, 2 and 3. Will Ospreay has done it. Will Ospreay has won the AEW World Championship for a second time in his career, and this time doing so against Kevin Steen in the finale of AEW Wrestle Dynasty. And walking away from this match, the new AEW World Champion, and representing the brand that he has flown the colors for so long, and getting vengeance too for Kenny Omega, a man who lost the championship at World's End. And now we see Ospreay awarded with the championship, but now we see coming out to the ring, and we should have suspected this considering the tactics being utilized here in Universe Mode at the hands of Andrade last time, in which Andrade cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. We are seeing a repeat of that here as the current winner of the AEW Continental Classic Tournament awarded that AEW Continental Championship. Konosuke Takeshita at World's End, the same event where Kevin Steen defeated Kenny Omega. We saw Kazuchika Okada acquire the AEW Continental Championship, which ensures him a championship match at any time of his choosing, and he has elected to cash in his Continental Championship opportunity at the World Championship here in the main event of World's End, or excuse me, at the main event of Wrestle Dynasty, following the championship opportunity that he earned at World's End. And we see accompanied by, of course, the Invisible Hand here, Konosuke Takeshita, very much mirroring the time that we saw Andrade El Idolo, who was flanked by the El Toro Blanco, Rush, and those two men on that night at SummerSlam, taking the championship away from Will Ospreay. Could we be seeing a repeat of that here tonight, as following a grueling matchup that we saw against Kevin Steen, now Will Ospreay is going to have to be expected to go one-on-one against the Alpha, Konosuke Takeshita, one of the premier athletes here in Universe Mode. And if Ospreay really wants to call himself a champion, he is going to have to take on all comers, and that includes Konosuke Takeshita here in this follow-up match, in our second, I suppose, a follow-up main event, a part 2 to the championship opportunity that Will Ospreay just had. And now entering a select few, including Kevin Steen and Pac, who have held that AEW World Championship on 2 occasions, Ospreay becoming the third man to do so. And no stranger to championship gold here in Universe Mode, as Ospreay was a former, what is now known as the TNT Championship. He was that champion as the Intercontinental Champion for 222 days a few years ago. And starting it off immediately with a bastard driver, and follows it up with an exploder suplex there from Takeshita, who is on the attack immediately here in this match against Ospreay. Looks for that springboard forearm strike there. Instead, Ospreay looks for a springboard forearm off of the corner, but rolling through, as he wasn't able to create enough space between himself and Takeshita. And now those Kawada kicks to the face turns Takeshita around, and Ospreay is going to have to play a very defensive matchup here, taking down Takeshita here, and airplane spinning on top of him, or helicopter spinning, whatever you want to call it. Taking Konosuke Takeshita now into the turnbuckle pad here, does Ospreay, as Ospreay props himself up on the second rope now, twisting tornado snap suplex there from Ospreay. And now immediately we see Don Callis not wasting any time, getting himself involved in this matchup as he slides a kendo stick to the inside of the ring. And now Ospreay, with the kendo stick in hand, gesturing to Don Callis, asking him what he was really even trying for there. And the referee taking the kendo stick from Ospreay and dishing it back out to the outside. However, that allows Takeshita to get the advantage with a fireman's carry, dropping Will Ospreay throat first, hot-shotting him across the top rope. And now with the wrist clutch, boot to the face there from Takeshita. Will Ospreay, as mentioned, former AEW World Champion, and claiming that championship yet again here. Sunset flip powerbomb to the outside there on Takeshita. And now Ospreay going to look to go after Don Callis here on the outside, but Callis walking away from Ospreay to avoid doing so. Ospreay also holding what is now known as the TNT Championship, and a huge sit-out powerbomb there from Takeshita, who catches Ospreay rebounding off of the ropes. I don't think Ospreay was prepared for Takeshita to have recovered so quickly, to have been back on the inside of the ring. And now once again, Takeshita with a huge sit-out, that time a tiger suplex there from Takeshita, a tiger bomb rather. And now a discus clothesline to end off that combination. Ospreay also being a former United Kingdom champion here in Universe Mode on one occasion, and a former NXT Cruiserweight champion as well. in fact, he was one of the few men in championship history to be a double champion here in Universe Mode, as we see Ospreay now rebounding off of the ropes, but Takeshita catches him with a back elbow as he approached him in the ring, once again cutting off Ospreay as he looked to gain some momentum, rebounding off of the ropes. Takeshita at each exchange cutting off Ospreay to do so. And Ospreay held that Cruiserweight Championship for 151 days a few years ago, simultaneously holding the United Kingdom Championship, and then would lose them on the same night. And now, Fisherman Buster there from Takeshita. Follows it up by isolating the hand here, and a series of stomps now to the hand. As mentioning the hand, we see the invisible hand. Don Callis now yet again getting involved in this contest by exposing that turnbuckle pad on the outside. Now Ospreay distracted at the hands of Don, realizing that he took the turnbuckle off. Roundhouse kick there, and a huge ripcord Spanish fly. And now we see the referee ejecting Don Callis out of the building, but it cost Will Ospreay there as he looked for the pinfall attempt following the ripcord Spanish fly. And Don Callis, in quick fashion, already being ejected from this match after introducing a kendo stick and also distracting Will Ospreay and taking that turnbuckle pad off. The referee having enough here in this matchup at honestly quite a pretty early stage in this match, already getting sick of Don Callis' antics, but perhaps wanting rather to have a fair contest here, and in the spirit of the AEW Continental Classic, of course, which Konosuke Takeshita had won, there is no interference. And now we see Ospreay with a pop-up Styles Clash there on Konosuke Takeshita, look to bridge over for the pinfall attempt there, and unsuccessful in doing so. However, now tripping out the back of the leg of Takeshita, and now comes in with a kick across the chest there at the hands of Ospreay. And Takeshita, in order to win the Continental Classic this season, would have to go on to surpass men within his own block of competition. Now we see in a Tree of Woe, Ospreay charging in and lands a drop kick. The men in his own division, Konosuke Takeshita, defeating the likes of, at the time, PWG champion AR Fox, beat Bandito as well, and now Ospreay with a twisting plancha to the outside that we saw him utilize against Kevin Steen in the previous match, and working wonders for him here as well, as the aerial assassin living up to his moniker, sending Konosuke Takeshita into that barricade at the ringside area, and now could be looking to send him face first. Snake Eyes across the apron, and Takeshita also surpassing Bandito, Seth Rollins, Pentagon Jr., Keith Lee, and Cameron Grimes in his own bracket to be successful. And there we saw a butterfly delayed suplex there from Takeshita, and Ospreay gets back up to his feet here, springboards in with a huge phenomenal forearm, does Ospreay, and now Ospreay ascends up to the top rope, looks to come now with a standing shooting star press rather onto Konosuke Takeshita, but is met with knees to the sternum, and now Takeshita, with Will Ospreay rebounding off of the ropes, receives a big boot. And Takeshita in the finals, and there we see a huge power drive knee from Takeshita to Ospreay, and looked for a pinfall, got the long 2 count there. I wasn't sure that Ospreay was going to be able to actually create the separation after facing really tough competition in the former AEW World Championship. Oh, and huge tope con hello there from Takeshita. I was not expecting Takeshita to dive down onto Ospreay from the ring to the outside, as Ospreay was prone on the outside from a grounded position, but Takeshita taking every risk that it takes here to walk out of this match as a champion, as Takeshita, despite having a tremendous year here in Universe Mode, and has done so for many years actually, going back to his battle with Kenny Omega at World's End a few years ago, very much proving himself against who was the former AEW World Champion, and this year going on to defeat Kurt Angle, as mentioned, back at AEW Double or Nothing, claiming the Continental Classic Championship. Konosuke Takeshita, that Continental Classic meaning so much to him because that is the only championship that he has yet to acquire here in Universe Mode. but in doing so, in winning that championship and winning that tournament, has perhaps ensured himself a championship victory here tonight against Will Ospreay. But Ospreay, with the amount of heart that he has, not willing to part ways with his newly acquired merchandise, and now connects with a Robinson special after Ospreay looked to rake the eyes off of a missed forearm smash attempt from Konosuke Takeshita coming out of the corner. Now Ospreay with Takeshita back up on the top rope here, as Ospreay going to look to join him now on the top with a massive Frankensteiner from the top rope. Takes Takeshita down hard, and now Ospreay looks to climb up the ropes. Diving shooting star press to follow it up. Hooks the leg here for a pinfall on Takeshita, and only a 2 count there as the Alpha yet again gets the shoulder up. But now Ospreay connects with that standing shooting star press, and this time it pays off for him. Now up in the fireman's carry position, connects with a roundhouse kick for the Benadryller, and now again the step low-key style kicks there from Ospreay to the bridge of the nose of Takeshita. Now kick to the face there from Ospreay in disrespectful fashion there. Springboarding off of the ropes, looks to rebound in with a Pele kick, but Takeshita quickly able to sidestep out of the way of that, and now takes Ospreay back down with a mat return on that Uranagi. And now a pinfall attempt here from Takeshita. Another long 2 count there for Will Ospreay, and a springboard forearm smash to the face from Takeshita. Takeshita now follows it up, knee to the face of a grounded Will Ospreay. Ospreay now turning over repeatedly. Looking to reposition him here. Does Takeshita, but a reversal there from Ospreay. Ospreay now with Takeshita up into position and connects with that Raging Fire Falcon Arrow that we see utilized at the hands of Takeshita on multiple occasions. And now Takeshita being repositioned here by Ospreay. Ospreay looked for the roundhouse kick, but the leg trip there from Takeshita, and connects with that German suplex that launches Ospreay back and towards the ropes. Now Takeshita from across the ring charging in with that back elbow into the corner. And now takes Ospreay from a seated position and alley-oops him into the up and down onto the canvas. Now being repositioned. Waistlock advantage from behind, but now a series of back elbows there from Ospreay. Standing switch here as Konosuke Takeshita gets the advantage with a Snapdragon suplex. A series of strikes there. Roundhouse kick from Ospreay, who connects with reliable the ripcord shooting star press there, and follows it up with, ripcord Spanish fly, but it's followed by the shooting star press, as now Ospreay with a boot to the midsection here. Could be looking for the Stormbreaker yet again here, this time on to Takeshita, and connects with it. Stormbreaker from Ospreay, but perhaps acknowledging that the talents of Konosuke Takeshita, that's not going to be enough to put him away here, as Ospreay now with Takeshita positioned in the corner here is looking for a cheeky Nando's on Konosuke Takeshita, and going to follow it up now by Ospreay ascending up to the top rope here. Looks to come diving down with a leap of faith. Pinfall attempt here from Ospreay on Takeshita, 2, and a near fall there. Takeshita getting the shoulder up at the very last second. Somehow, though, Takeshita fighting on and maintaining his chances here at obtaining that championship. But Ospreay comes charging in with a rope step twisting plancha to the outside. Crashes down hard on Takeshita. And now Takeshita, as Ospreay was looking to send Takeshita back to the inside, Takeshita reversing that and gaining the advantage, comes charging in with a Takeshita line now. Knee to the face there from Takeshita. and grabs the arm here of Ospreay. Is going to look to surfboard stomp Ospreay's face first, ricocheting off of the canvas. And now turning him over. Konosuke Takeshita maintaining the attack here. Ospreay creates the separation now with the super kick, and now could be looking for, what is he looking for? The hidden blade here on Konosuke Takeshita. And could this be a successful defense here for Ospreay? Pinfall 2, and no, Takeshita gets the shoulder up. Still fighting on in this matchup. Takeshita, ever so perseverant, as we have come to expect from the man who won the Continental Classic earlier this year. No stranger to long-form contests, no stranger to high-profile matches. Now Ospreay again looks to reposition. Takeshita face first into the buckle, sends Takeshita now shoulder first into that ring post. And now with the boot to the face washing Takeshita there. And Robinson's special there again from Will Ospreay. Looks to follow it up now, stomps to Takeshita, turns him over, and now he's going to look to dive down from the top with a spiral tap there from Ospreay, digging deep into his bag of tricks. We saw AJ Styles in a match earlier tonight against Shingo, and it almost got the pinfall there for Ospreay, very nearly walking away from this match with his championship and with the win there off of the spiral tap. And paying homage to AJ Styles, who, as mentioned, we saw against Shingo earlier on tonight in a tremendous matchup. Now Takeshita connects with a huge Blue Thunder bomb. Takeshita, however, following it up, not wasting any time here on Will Ospreay as he looks to follow it up with the Raging Fire there we see utilized by Takeshita now, hooking the leg, and Ospreay emphatically kicking out so quick after that pinfall. Series of strikes to the face here to a grounded Ospreay. Now Takeshita isolating the shoulder here, targeting the shoulder of Ospreay, knowing that he utilizes that for the OsCutter, amongst many other of Will Ospreay's offense, to be able to hoist him up, and now connecting with a series of clothesline takedowns and finishes him off with a super kick. Now again connecting to repeated clotheslines, and again connecting with the super kick does Ospreay. Thanks to that roundhouse, and again for the ripcord Spanish fly at the hands of Ospreay. Springboard 450 there from Ospreay, really paying respect to AJ Styles, who we saw earlier tonight. Now calling for Takeshita to get back up to his feet here from the corner. Turns Takeshita around, electric chair position for a roaring forearm to the back of the head. Ospreay showing off for the fans who love him so much here in the Tokyo Dome. And diving to the outside with a shooting star press. Diving all the way down, crashing hard is Ospreay. But the risk that he is willing to take to keep that championship that he is pulling out here tonight, going deep into the reserve there with a shooting star press to the outside, follows it up, was looking for the hidden blade, but Takeshita ducks out of the way, connects with that Takeshita line, and takes down Ospreay for these grounded strikes, further opening the laceration that Will Ospreay has suffered here tonight, and just further opening that wound. And now Ospreay with a pop-up into the Styles Clash yet again utilized from Ospreay, as Ospreay takes Takeshita down, and now going to follow it up by bringing Takeshita into the turnbuckle pad. Now Takeshita hoisting himself up, and tornado snap suplex yet again there from Takeshita. Standing shooting star reversed, however. Takeshita once more getting the knees up. Boots to the face. Now Takeshita charges in on Ospreay again, who's on the outside, diving over the top with a tope. Boot to the back of the head there. You see Ospreay's blood pouring around the ringside area as the wound that he had further and further just opening up and just widening as Takeshita continuously targeting the head of Ospreay there. Now Takeshita, after missing a huge frog splash off the top rope earlier on in this match, connects with one as he springboards off of the ropes to the inside. Now super kick from Takeshita takes him down. And now Ospreay getting Takeshita back up to his feet here, repositioning him perhaps for whatever kind of offensive maneuver he could be looking for here. And connects with that springboard Pele kick to the head. But Takeshita, before Ospreay could fully opportunize, and now instead, I thought Konosuke Takeshita was going to cut him off short on the top rope, but Takeshita instead being reversed by Ospreay, who comes diving down with that forearm smash. Now Ospreay looking to wrench back on the arm and wrench the arm to break it for there on Takeshita. Now Takeshita being picked back up to his knees here from Ospreay, who brings him in with that wrist clutch boot to the face there. And Takeshita utilizing the ropes to get back up to his feet. Ospreay now comes charging in with another tope con hilo, but Konosuke Takeshita standing out of the way, stepping aside as Ospreay comes crashing down hard on the outside of the ring. And now with Takeshita on the inside, going to look to go after the legs here of Ospreay. Going to look to prevent him from doing his springboard and diving offense that Ospreay has utilized to much success. And Takeshita looked to get Ospreay back up to his feet there, but Ospreay able to escape instead. Gets Takeshita now to a kneeling position for those Kawada kicks to the face of Takeshita, further opening both these guys' wounds up as both of these men bleeding at this point in the contest. Now we see a standoff between these two. Yeah, boo strikes back and forth as this crowd fired up for Ospreay, despite their love for Takeshita, knowing that he comes in here. The way that he entered this matchup is just unbefitting of someone who is looking to claim that championship and having turned their backs on Takeshita, despite the crowd actually liking Takeshita for the most part, especially here in the Tokyo Dome. But despite that, Will Ospreay, the fan favorite here, as he's looking to get the advantage here. Both men going at it in a hockey fight right in the middle of the ring and leaving nothing unanswered as these two unleashing on each other. Now springboard from Takeshita, rebounding off of the ropes and catches Ospreay off guard with a drop kick to the back that sends sends Will Ospreay face first down onto the mat after Takeshita comes diving off of the ropes. And now Ospreay scoops up Takeshita coming off of the ropes with that tilt-a-whirl release. And now Takeshita in position for the hidden blade from Will Ospreay. And Ospreay going to look to follow that up by getting Takeshita back up to his feet here. Boot to the midsection here from Ospreay. And going to hoist Konosuke Takeshita up for yet another Stormbreaker! Hooking the leg. Pinfall here. Referee checking that the shoulders are down. 2 and 3. Will Ospreay has done it. He has won the championship here tonight. And on the first night that Will Ospreay can call himself the AEW World Champion, he has also successfully defended that championship against the winner of the Continental Classic, who cashed in his opportunity here tonight to try and wrestle that championship away from him. Will Ospreay defeating Konosuke Takeshita. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who has ever checked out any of these universe mode videos. It has meant a lot to me to be on this journey, so I thank every single one of you who has given these a chance. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. And as for now, breaking news, we are checking out. Thank you everyone for joining me for ThisJustin's universe mode.